Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. I was reborn on the day I saved Ethan. Just as I was walking towards Ethan, my elder sister suddenly rushed out and pulled Ethan into her arms. Looking at the warning look in my sister's eyes, I understood my sister had also been reborn. Sitting on the chair outside the operating room, she sneered, "Sister, this time I'll replace you to become the young mistress of the Ethan family." I sneered back, "Dear elder sister, you don't know that the thing I regretted most in my last life was saving Ethan and marrying him." I was woken up by a sharp pain. Opening my eyes, I looked around and saw a car overturned on the ground ahead with a man pinned underneath it. I was lying on the ground with blood flowing from my arm. I immediately realized that I had been reborn on the day of the car accident when I saved Ethan. Looking at Ethan, who was unconscious under the wheels, all kinds of dark thoughts immediately flooded into my mind. I struggled to stand up and walk towards Ethan step by step, thinking of 100 ways to make Ethan die immediately in my mind. Just as I was reaching out my hand to Ethan, a shrill voice snapped me out of it. "President Ethan." Turning my head, I saw my elder sister running over quickly, hugging Ethan tightly and glaring at me sideways. My sister carried Ethan on her back and ran towards the hospital. I had never known that my elder sister, who had always shown herself as weak, could be so strong. Ethan was a tall man of 1.8 meters. In my last life, I had to struggle with all my might to drag Ethan to the hospital. Looking at the figure of my sister in front of me, I fell into deep thought. This wasn't right. At this time in my last life, my sister was on vacation in Sonia with her boyfriend. How could she suddenly appear here? In this life, my elder sister had been beautiful since she was a child. After growing up and knowing how to dress up, she became the focus of attention in the crowd. She had always wanted to marry into a wealthy family and truly enter the upper class that was out of her reach. In my last life, in order to be worthy of her rich second-generation boyfriend, she teamed up with our parents, who were partial to her, to marry me off to Ethan, who had his legs amputated due to a car accident. The betrothal gifts were the resources that the Ethan group gave to her boyfriend's family. Later, thanks to the resources of the Ethan group, my sister married the rich second generation as she wished. But the good times didn't last long. The rich second generation's family went bankrupt soon because of the broken capital chain, and that rich second generation became addicted to gambling, borrowing countless usurious loans. My sister was chased by loan sharks like a rat on the run. As for me, although Ethan had no legs after marrying him, the Ethan group was still the richest in the city. I was also the legitimate young mistress of the Ethan group, and was highly sought after at various upper-class banquets during an intermission. At a banquet, I went outside to get some fresh air. Suddenly, a white light flashed before my eyes. Turning around, I saw my sister driving a car and crashing into me crazily. There was a wall behind me and I had no way to avoid it. Bang! I watched helplessly as my body flew up high like a parabola and then landed heavily. I saw my sister walking towards me with a distorted look of pleasure on her face. "Emily, you deserve it. If you hadn't refused to lend money to the David family, the David family wouldn't have gone bankrupt. David wouldn't have become a gambler, and I wouldn't have to live a life of hiding everywhere. It's all your fault. You're not as pretty as me, and your personality isn't as likable as mine. Why should you be the wife of a wealthy family while I'm living such a life?" Looking at the resentful expression on my sister's face, I suddenly didn't know where I got the strength from. I got up abruptly and rolled into the car that was about to explode. Looking at my sister's surprised expression, I closed my eyes contentedly. Outside the operating room, I sat on the chair in the hospital corridor. Looking back on my last life, I gradually calmed down. In my last life, Ethan and my sister had ruined my whole life. But in this life, I will never let them ruin my life again. A scoundrel like Ethan isn't worth risking my life to kill him. My parents heard that my sister was in the hospital and rushed over in a hurry. As soon as they came in, they grabbed my sister's body. "Sophia, are you okay? Why did you come to the hospital?" They carefully examined Sophia's body without even noticing me standing aside with blood flowing from my arm. My heart turned cold. Oh, these are my parents. Both of us are their daughters, but they could give all their love and care to Sophia without caring about me at all. I started doing housework when I was 7 years old. I washed all the clothes and dishes at home. Whenever my parents were in a bad mood, they would either beat or scold me, while Sophia only needed to be the little princess looking down on others. In my last life, in order to marry me off to Ethan, my mother went to my school to make a scene every day. She even withdrew me from school without my permission and locked me up at home, not giving me food or water until I agreed to marry Ethan. Then they let me out after seeing that Sophia was safe and sound. My parents finally relaxed and then had the leisure to notice me standing beside them. My mother frowned. "Emily, how did you take care of your sister?" Hearing my mother's words accusing me without even asking for the details, if it were in my last life, I might have felt sad, but now I just find it ridiculous. Is Sophia a child? Does she need someone to take care of her? Is her hand or foot broken? Probably it was the first time hearing me talk back. My mother was first stunned. When she came to her senses, her face turned furious. She raised her hand to hit me. "You little, how dare you talk back to me?" I was about to dodge. When I saw Sophia pull down my mother's hand and smile as she looked behind me, I turned around in confusion and saw Ethan's mother coming out of the elevator in a hurry. "Ethan? How is Ethan?" Ethan's mother asked anxiously. Sophia immediately pushed me aside and leaned forward. "Auntie, don't worry. Ethan has been sent to the emergency room by me and is currently undergoing surgery." She deliberately emphasized the words "by me." Sure enough, when Ethan's mother heard that it was she who had saved her son, she immediately became amiable towards Sophia. While chatting with Ethan's mother, Sophia didn't forget to throw me a gloating look. At this point, I was even more certain of the suspicion in my mind. Sophia had also been reborn. Moreover, she was deliberately trying to replace me, saving Ethan one step ahead. Next, she probably intended to marry into the Ethan family. Looking at the scene in front of me, I found it extremely ironic. Sophia only wanted to marry into a wealthy family, but she didn't know that being the young mistress of the Ethan family was far from being as easy as she imagined. When Ethan married me in the first place, it was to repay the so-called life-saving grace and silence the outside public opinion. On the other hand, due to this car accident, Ethan had his limbs amputated. The rich girls of his class would naturally not look at him favorably, so he simply chose me instead, thinking that I could take care of him all the time. Since Ethan lost his legs, his mind had become distorted. In the eyes of outsiders, he was a great young man who remained positive after suffering hardships. Behind the scenes, he was a sinister, self-abased, paranoid control freak. At home, no one was allowed to mention the word legs. He didn't allow me to have any contact with anyone without his permission. I couldn't even step out of the gate of the Ethan family. Whenever something didn't go his way, he would beat me crazily. Especially because of the amputation, he couldn't relieve his sexual desires well, so every night he would torture me in various ways during sexual intercourse. At first, I would ask Ethan's parents for help, but all I got was a casual, "Just bear it." In their eyes, I was just a plaything bought for Ethan. Who would show pity to a plaything? I looked at Sophia, who was chatting happily with Ethan's mother, and smiled. "My dear elder sister, this time your wish will surely come true." After getting my wound treated, when I returned to school and looked at the familiar yet strange environment around me, tears couldn't help but fall. In my last life, in order to marry me off to Ethan, my parents unilaterally withdrew me from school without my permission, causing me to not even finish high school. Because my grades had always been good, after I suddenly dropped out, my class teacher even came to my house to look for me and asked about the reason. At that time, I was imprisoned in the basement, listening to the clumsy lies my parents told. As a teacher, I shouted loudly and even banged my body against the wall, trying to make a noise so that the class teacher could save me. But the abnormalities I created desperately were just brushed off by my parents with a few words. After the class teacher left, what awaited me was an even more brutal beating. Looking at the spacious and bright classroom and the lively classmates, I secretly swore in my heart that this time I must study hard, get into a good university, and completely get rid of my parents. While I was busy studying hard at school, Sophia was busy taking care of Ethan in the hospital. After a week, when I went to the hospital to change my dressing, I ran into Sophia. As soon as she saw me, her expression immediately became vigilant. "Emily, what are you doing here?" I raised my arm at her. Her expression relaxed and then she warned me, "Emily, I'm telling you, Ethan is my boyfriend now. You'd better stay away from him. I was surprised. I didn't expect Sophia to hook up with Ethan so quickly. Seeing my surprised expression, Sophia said arrogantly, "Ha! I'm so good-looking." Ethan was immediately charmed by me as soon as he saw me. "Who's like you? It took you 3 months to." The latter part of Sophia's sentence was very low. I tried hard to listen but still couldn't hear it clearly. Anyway, she was just mocking me for taking a long time to confirm the relationship with Ethan. My dear elder sister, I hope you can stay this happy all the time." When I went home to get my change of clothes in the evening, I saw my parents and Sophia arguing in the living room. With the thought of not missing any excitement, I deliberately slowed down my packing speed to see what they were arguing about. "Sophia, Mom's not against you dating, but you should pick a normal person when you date. Ethan, how can he be worthy of you?" Mom was earnestly persuading. Yes, that guy you dated before, right? David's. I think he was quite good," Dad also chimed in. Hearing her parents mention her rich second-generation boyfriend. "Oh no, ex-boyfriend." Sophia curled her lips in disdain. "Mom and Dad, what do you know? Although Ethan is the Ethan family is rich. I've saved Ethan's life now, and I'll marry him later. When I give birth to the eldest son of the Ethan family, won't the whole Ethan family be ours?" I looked at my parents' increasingly excited expressions and shook my head in my heart. This whole family was blinded by the elusive future. After all, the Ethan family was the richest in the city. Now that Ethan was disabled, there were probably many people in their family eyeing the Ethan family's property. How could it be their turn? However, I wasn't kind-hearted enough to remind them. I couldn't wait to see the expressions on their faces when their dreams were shattered. After a month, Ethan was discharged from the hospital. Sophia also finally ended her life as a caregiver and pushed Ethan's wheelchair back to school. When Sophia saw me, she immediately crouched down, leaned her head on Ethan's shoulder and owed me their intimacy. She gave me a provocative look and then exclaimed, "Sister, your arm is still injured. How could you come to school?" I thought to myself, my arm has already healed. It's quite something that she still remembers it and deliberately builds up the persona of a good elder sister with it. Does an elder sister know my arm had already healed half a month ago? I stared at her with a blank expression and replied. Sophia's face stiffened. Looking at the scrutinizing gazes of the others, she immediately explained, "Oh, elder sister has been so busy taking care of Ethan lately that I might have unavoidably neglected you. Don't be so petty and hold a grudge against elder sister." With that, Sophia put on a look of being on the verge of crying, as if the whole world had wronged her. Seeing Sophia's delicate and pitiful appearance, the others immediately cast condemning looks at me, and even Ethan frowned. Sure enough, in this new life, Sophia was still the same as in her last life, liking to create the image of a caring elder sister in front of outsiders. But this time, I won't let her smear my image any longer. "What are you talking about, elder sister? How could I hold a grudge against you? I know I'm not as important as Ethan in your heart, but I just want to get even a little bit of care from you, elder sister." Looking at the changing expressions of the people around and their whispering, I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Indeed, to deal with a white lotus, one has to rely on a green tea. Seeing the shift in the situation, Sophia almost couldn't maintain her charming expression and immediately changed the topic. "Sister, I know you've never liked Ethan, but you couldn't just stand by when Ethan had a car accident. If you had rescued Ethan in time back then, maybe Ethan wouldn't have lost his legs." As soon as I heard this, I knew something bad was going to happen. Sure enough, looking at Ethan's sinister gaze, I couldn't help but tremble and quickly explained, "Elder sister, what are you talking about? When the accident happened, my arm was pinned under the car, and I passed out on the spot. When I woke up, I was the only one left on the whole road." Before Sophia could refute, I immediately added, "On the contrary, elder sister, I remember you should have been traveling in Sonia with David that day. How could you suddenly appear there? And when you say Ethan, why didn't you save your own sister, me? Could it be that you didn't see me blocked by the car?" Sophia's face changed colors like a palette. "Yes, Sophia. You keep saying you care about your sister. But how could you leave your sister injured and go to save someone you hardly know like Ethan?" Olivia said with a sarcastic look. Olivia and Sophia were both known as the two school beauties in high school, But Olivia's popularity was far less than Sophia's. She had never been nice to Sophia before, and now that she finally had the chance to mock Sophia, how could she let it pass? The situation was so urgent back then I really didn't. Sophia was flustered as she tried to explain whether anyone would believe her lame explanation was anyone's guess. At this moment, Ethan suddenly asked, "Who is David?" Sophia's face turned deathly pale. "David is my elder sister's boyfriend." "Oh no, he should be her ex-boyfriend. They were still together before your car accident," I said with an innocent look. "What are you talking nonsense about? I broke up with David long ago." Sophia was shocked and angry, and then she wanted to pounce on me to hit me. I was just about to dodge when I heard a slap. Sophia was slapped by Ethan. She covered her face and looked at Ethan in disbelief. Looking at Sophia's reaction, I knew that in the past month, Ethan probably had never shown his brutal side in front of Sophia. However, now Sophia's behavior seemed to have provoked him. How could a proud person like Ethan endure such a great humiliation? After slapping her, Ethan didn't look at Sophia again and turned around to push his wheelchair away. Sophia didn't care about her grievance anymore and quickly chased after him. That day, when I was doing practice questions in the classroom, the class teacher called me out. I went out with a puzzled look and saw my parents standing in the corridor talking to the class teacher. Suddenly, I remembered the incident in my previous life when they withdrew me from school without my permission, and my heart tightened. I quickly walked forward. Seeing me coming, the class teacher quickly greeted me. "Emily, something has happened at your home. Your parents are here to take you home." I looked at my parents wearily. My mother gave me a reproachful look. "Look at you, kid. What are you still standing there for? Your grandmother has come and wants to see you. Hurry up and come back with me." I was puzzled. If grandmother had come, she could have just called me to come back. Why did they have to come all this way unless they were afraid that I wouldn't go back and came specifically to keep an eye on me? My heart sank. This trip back to my hometown is likely to be a hangmen banquet. Although I was reluctant inside, I couldn't refuse in front of the class teacher. Moreover, even if I dodged this time, I had no idea what they would do to me next time, so I might as well go this time and see what they were up to. Thinking of this, I made up my mind. "Mom and Dad, wait for me a moment. I'll go and pack my things." "Oh, what do you need to pack for?" "Just going back for a day." My mother curled her lips. "Mom, I'm already in Senior 3. There's only 1 month left before the exam. Every minute is important to me now." I looked at her with a half smile. It's really ridiculous. Other parents are extremely careful before the exam, afraid of affecting their children, but my parents, on the contrary, can't wait for me to fail the exam. My mother gave an awkward laugh when she heard me say this. "Look at you, kid. I didn't say I wouldn't let you go back. Hurry up and go." I went back to the classroom, packed a few books, and quietly put the small knife hidden in my desk into my school bag. When I got home, I saw that only Sophia was at home, and I understood. "Mom and Dad, where's grandmother? Didn't you say grandmother had come?" I asked, pretending not to know. "Humph. I asked you, why did you tell Ethan that your elder sister had a boyfriend? Do you know how much grievance your elder sister has suffered because of this?" My father slapped the table hard and questioned me. Sure enough, it was still because Sophia's elder sister was dating David back then. I was just telling Ethan the truth. Besides, if elder sister suffered any grievance, was it caused by me? If elder sister can't stand Ethan, she can just break up with him. Fine, I knew it. You just want Ethan to break up with me so that you can be with him, right? I'm telling you, you're dreaming. Sophia shouted at me excitedly. I rolled my eyes. Relax, no one will compete with you for Ethan. I sincerely hope you two will be stuck together forever. Do you think a scoundrel like Ethan is some kind of hot commodity? Okay. As soon as you got home, you two are like fighting. Both of you say less and drink some milk. Mom came over with 2 glasses of milk and winked at Sophia. I was astonished. What had possessed my mom? Since when could she say such impartial words? I stared at the glass of milk she handed me and didn't take it for a long time. Sure enough, seeing that I didn't take it, Mom got a bit impatient. "Emily, take it quickly." I shook my head. "I'm not thirsty." "Who said it was for quenching your thirst? It's to nourish you. You're about to take the exam, so you should drink more milk to nourish your brain. Look, your elder sister has already drunk hers." With that, she signaled Sophia to drink the other glass. Sophia wasn't too willing but still pinched her nose and drank it. Looking at this scene, I couldn't help but sigh. Sophia had hated drinking milk since she was a child. To scheme against me, she really was enduring humiliation for a greater cause. I reached out and took the milk. Since Grandma isn't back, I'll go back to my room to study first. After saying that, without caring about their reactions, I went straight back to my room. I was doing my homework in the room when suddenly Sophia pushed the door open and walked in. I frowned. Sophia had always been like this, never knocking before entering my room. "What do you want?" I asked coldly. Can't I come to see you? If there's nothing, I'm your elder sister after all. Is this how you talk to me now that there are no outsiders? Sophia, what on earth do you want to do? Seeing that I was so unkind, Sophia's fake smile immediately disappeared, and her face turned gloomy. You still have the nerve to say that? Do you know that because of your nonsense, Ethan gave me a good beating? My face still hurts now. Do you know how much effort I spent to coax him back? As she said that, she seemed to recall something unpleasant and shuddered, looking at the finger marks on Sophia's face that couldn't be covered even with thick foundation. Sophia seemed to think that this matter was over. However, I knew that this was just the beginning. In the future, whenever Ethan was unhappy, this matter would become the reason for him to abuse Sophia. In my last life, just because I went to a friend's party without permission, I was tied up in the basement by Ethan and tortured for a whole night. The following month was almost a nightmare for me. This time, elder sister, it's your turn. Sophia glanced at the glass of milk on the table and complained, "Why haven't you drunk the milk yet?" "Why should I?" I stared closely into Sophia's eyes. Under my intense gaze, Sophia's eyes darted away. "Because it's Mom's care for you. How can you let Mom down?" Sophia stuttered a bit at first, but then she sounded more and more confident. I sneered. Did they still think I was a child longing for love? Would I be grateful for just a little bit of charity? Seeing the sneer on my face, Sophia got furious. "What kind of expression is that?" "Fine, I see that you're getting more and more disobedient. I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of Mom and Dad right now." With that, Sophia raised her hand to slap me. Before her hand could land, I grabbed her hand and slapped her back. There was a crisp and clear sound of the slap. Sophia covered her face and looked at me in disbelief. You actually dared to hit me." She lunged at me like a madwoman. I grabbed her and held her back. Another slap. Sophia went completely crazy. I'll fight you to the death." I took out the small knife from my school bag and held it against Sophia's face. "Elder sister, you'd better be careful. Knives don't have eyes. If it accidentally scratches your delicate face, I'll feel sorry for you." Sophia was almost scared to death looking at the knife on her face. "What are you doing? Take the knife away. What did you put in the milk?" "And nothing." Sophia was trembling. "Elder sister, I'm not very patient. I'll ask you one last time. What's in the milk?" Looking at the tip of the knife that I was slowly lowering, Sophia finally shouted, "A sleeping pill. It's a sleeping pill." I frowned. "Why did you want to knock me out?" "To take nude photos of you, threaten you, and make you be obedient in the future and not compete with me for Ethan." Listening to Sophia's words, my heart turned cold. These are my parents. The only bit of warmth they ever showed me since I was a child was actually to take nude photos of me and threaten me. My hand trembled, and the tip of the knife cut Sophia's face, and a string of small blood beads gushed out. My face. "Emily!" Sophia screamed in horror. "Shut up. Drink the milk." I pushed the knife forward a little, and Sophia immediately shut up and tremblingly picked up the milk. After Sophia drank the milk, I waited for a while. Sure enough, her consciousness began to blur. I laid her on the bed and took off all her clothes. "Sophia, you'll reap what you sow." After Sophia woke up, I threatened her with her nude photos that she was not allowed to trouble me. She was not allowed to persuade my parents to withdraw me from school. Looking at the nude photos in my hand, Sophia had to swallow her pride and agree. Before leaving, I caught a glimpse of Sophia's resentful and distorted expression out of the corner of my eye and sneered disdainfully. "Dear elder sister, this is just the beginning." After returning to school, I started to study against the clock. After all, in this life my goal is to enter Peking University. When there was only 1 week left before the exam, I received a call asking me to pick up a courier at the school gate. As I was walking out, I was thinking that I hadn't bought any couriers recently. Could it be that I was so absorbed in my studies that I had forgotten? When I walked to the school gate, I found that the courier guy wasn't at the main entrance but in an alley instead. I was a bit puzzled, but without thinking too much, I walked towards there. The moment I saw Ethan, I knew I had fallen into a trap. Looking at Ethan and the several bodyguards surrounding him, I forced myself to stay calm. "Brother-in-law, why did you call me here?" Hearing me call him brother-in-law, Ethan frowned unhappily and then spoke. "Were you really knocked out on the day of our car accident?" Ethan's eyes were fixed on me, not missing any of my expressions. I said, "Yes, I remember. I was walking on the road just fine, and then suddenly I was hit by a car, and then I lost consciousness." "Brother-in-law, do you want to investigate the accident that day? You can check the surveillance footage of that day." The reason Ethan came to ask me specifically was naturally not to investigate the accident because he knew the cause of the accident better than anyone else. It was due to drunk driving. He came to ask me at this time just to test whether I had deliberately not saved him that day. It seemed that Sophia's words that day had left doubts in his heart. After all, the surveillance cameras in that section are broken. Ethan frowned irritably. Of course, I knew the surveillance cameras were broken. Otherwise, I wouldn't have dared to lie casually in front of Sophia, who was a witness to the event. "Ah, that's really a pity." I shook my head as if regretfully. "Is that so? But it doesn't matter anyway." Ethan gave me an ambiguous look and then waved to the bodyguards behind him. I was startled and then realized Ethan didn't care whether I was knocked out or awake at all. He only cared that because I didn't save him, he had his limbs amputated. He came here today just to beat me up. After figuring this out, I cursed Ethan in my heart. Seeing several big and burly bodyguards walking towards me, I quickly took out the pepper spray that I always carried with me and sprayed it on the faces of these people. After spraying, I ran towards the school as fast as I could. As long as I ran into the school, they couldn't blatantly attack me. Faster, even faster. I ran like crazy with the momentum of running an 800-meter race. Just when I was about to reach the school, a bodyguard caught me. I was so worried that I kicked him in the crotch. With his miserable scream, I successfully ran into the campus. After the incident that day, whenever I wanted to go out of the school gate, I would see several people squatting near the entrance. I knew that those were all Ethan's people. I couldn't just sit around and wait for things to happen. If this continued, I was afraid that I wouldn't even be able to take the exam. I carefully recalled if there was anything that could keep Ethan occupied and unable to bother me. Suddenly I thought of something. In my last life, I was almost confined at home by Ethan. He was sure that I couldn't escape, so he didn't avoid me when dealing with some confidential documents. It was at this time that the Ethan family was preparing for the bidding of several projects. I saw those bidding documents and memorized the reserved prices of the bids. At that time, I thought that it might come in handy someday. Unexpectedly, it didn't come in handy in my last life, but it benefited me in this life. In my last life, the Ethan group won the bidding successfully, and it was precisely because of these projects that the Ethan family completely widened the gap with several other families and became the richest in the city. I found the email address of the chairman of the Ethan family's biggest competitor on the internet. I sent an anonymous email to him. After doing these things, I waited for the result peacefully. A few days later, when I saw on the internet that the contracting companies of those several major projects had all been changed, I knew that it had worked. I sneaked to the school gate to observe, and sure enough, those people were all gone. 2 days before the exam, the school gave us a holiday and asked us to go home to study well. I applied to the class teacher to stay in the dormitory on the grounds of maintaining my study state at school before the exam. I didn't want to see anyone from my family. Sitting in the examination room, my heart was unprecedentedly calm in this life because I had enough time to review. Plus, my grades were originally good, so the questions on the test papers weren't difficult for me. After finishing all the subjects and walking out of the examination room, I couldn't help but let out a long sigh when looking at the blue sky outside. Finally, I could escape from here. When I got home, I saw that the people at home were either watching TV or doing their nails, as if no one had thought that I was taking the exam today. If it were me in my previous life, I might have been a bit sad, but now, seeing this scene, my heart was not stirred at all. I quietly went back to my room and started to think about my future life plan. In my last life, besides the time spent taking care of Ethan, I still had some free time. Since Ethan didn't allow me to go out, I used this free time to cultivate many hobbies. Among them, what interested me most was jewelry design. I was talented in this aspect. The jewelry I designed at that time even made Ethan's mother, who had always looked down on me, give me a few rare kind looks. I made up my mind to become a jewelry designer in the future. After considering my future plans, I started to worry about the things that were right in front of me. My parents would definitely not pay for my college tuition, so where would the money come from? Just when I was planning to go out to find a part-time job, Sophia came to me. "Emily, you must be short of money lately, right? Have you saved enough for college? I'm telling you, don't even think about getting a penny from mom and dad." Sophia looked haughty. I gave her a cold look. "What do you want to say? If you delete my nude photos, I'll give you 50,000 yuan. How about that? It should be enough for you to go to college. Where did you get the money?" I was a bit puzzled. Although our parents doted on her, they wouldn't give her such a large sum of money all at once. Sophia proudly raised her wrist in front of me. "Of course it's from Ethan. Look at this bracelet. It's the latest version of Coach. You can't even buy it with money." Suddenly, I pulled up her bracelet. Sure enough, I saw the red marks on Sophia's wrist. She looked flustered and shook off my hand. "What are you doing? Who told you to touch my bracelet? This is the compensation Ethan gave you after hitting you, right?" My tone was certain. "So what if it is? At least he's willing to coax me. He hit me only because he was sick and not feeling well." Sophia looked brainwashed. Then she looked me up and down with disdain. "Humph, but it's no wonder you always dress so dowdy. No one has ever given you such an expensive gift, right?" I didn't expect that the apology gift, which I considered a humiliation in my previous life, would be so willingly accepted by Sophia. "After saying so much, do you agree or not?" Sophia asked impatiently. "Sure, it's free money, and it's from that scumbag. Why not take it? Anyway, I'll be going to college soon, and those photos are of no use to me anymore." 5 years later, during college, I studied design. While submitting my design drafts to some well-known jewelry stores, I soon became a somewhat famous jewelry designer in the industry. After graduation, relying on the capital and connections I had accumulated before, I founded my own company. With the experience from my previous life and a keen sense of fashion, my company quickly became a benchmark in the industry. During this period, I heard that Ethan's leg injury had relapsed, and Sophia accompanied him to receive treatment abroad. Calculating the days, they should be coming back soon. Speaking of which, since the Ethan family lost several projects to their competitors, their development has been far from what it used to be. The care for Ethan's legs in all aspects is also far worse than in the previous life. Moreover, since Ethan went abroad, he hasn't been able to interfere with the business of the Ethan Group. A family is in a fierce fight for family property. Ethan's return at this time makes this drama even more interesting. I saw Ethan and Sophia again at a banquet. To be honest, if it weren't for Ethan's iconic wheelchair, I almost wouldn't have recognized them. In this life, probably due to the torture of illness, Ethan no longer has the calm and carefree appearance he had in front of outsiders in the previous life. Instead, he has become gloomy and dull. As for Sophia, at first glance, she was dressed in all her finery, but on closer inspection, I found that she had aged a lot. There was a thick layer of foundation on her face, making her look even more sallow. I heard that she had been pregnant once before and was accidentally hit by Ethan when he was drunk, which caused a miscarriage. That miscarriage almost cost her half her life. I watched Sophia following Ethan closely, just like a dog tamed by him. Sophia was quietly following Ethan when suddenly she saw me. She crouched down and said something to Ethan. Ethan glanced at me and nodded, and then Sophia walked towards me. "Emily, you must be very happy to see me in such a miserable state, right?" Sophia looked at me with hatred. "What am I happy about? Stop pretending. I know you're also reborn." I wasn't surprised that Sophia knew I was reborn. After all, it was so obvious. If she still hadn't noticed, I would really doubt her intelligence. "So what if I am?" I looked at her sarcastically. "Tell me, how did you handle Ethan in the previous life? He hits me every now and then. I really can't take it anymore." I was just about to refute that I could never handle Ethan when suddenly a brilliant idea came to my mind. I can tell you, but what can you give me? Sophia frowned. What do you want? It's simple. As long as you get Mom and Dad to sign a severance agreement with me. No problem. 2 days later, Sophia brought Mom and Dad over to sign the agreement. Since I'm somewhat wealthy now, Mom and Dad naturally didn't agree at first, but later Sophia told them that as long as they could handle Ethan, all the money of the Ethan family would be theirs. Although the Ethan family has fallen on hard times, a lean camel is still bigger than a horse. Compared with my newly established small company, of course, the Ethan group is more appealing to them. I watched them sign the agreement neatly. Finally, I couldn't help but ask the question that had haunted me for half my life. We originally wanted to have both a son and a daughter. We already checked the second child, and it was a boy. Who knew that we would give birth to a debt collector like you? It's you who's blocking our son's way. If we had known that you'd be so unfilial, we should have drowned you in the chamber pot when you were born. Looking at the disgusted looks in my parents' eyes, I finally realized that their long-standing partiality was simply because I wasn't a boy, that I was blocking their son's way. When I was a child, every time they hit or scolded me, I was thinking if I had done something wrong. I doubted countless times whether I was really their biological daughter, but I didn't expect that for such a ridiculous reason they would really treat their own biological daughter like this. It's truly ridiculous. From this moment on, I, Emily, no longer have any relatives and have completely made peace with myself. After signing the agreement, I told Sophia in Ethan's office that there was a hidden room, and the safe in that hidden room contained the secrets of the Ethan family. There were a great many documents in it. Among them, there was one document with which Ethan could be manipulated. I asked her to take pictures of all the documents she got and show them to me so that I could help her find that particular document. After some time, Sophia suddenly contacted me. I was looking at the documents she sent me when I saw one of the documents and clenched my fist excitedly. This document appeared to be an ordinary business document on the outside, but in fact, it was evidence of the Ethan family's tax evasion. Sophia had been made useless by Ethan. Even if she had this document in her hands, she wouldn't be able to figure out anything. In my previous life, I had actually already obtained this evidence. If Sophia hadn't run me over and killed me, I would have avenged myself long ago. However, it's not too late now. I packaged all the evidence of the Ethan Group's tax evasion and sent it to the procuratorate. Soon the Ethan Group was placed under investigation. When you pull up a radish, you bring out the mud along with it. With this investigation, all kinds of unsavory things about the Ethan Group were uncovered. Before long, the Ethan Group announced its bankruptcy. Later, I heard that after the Ethan Group went bankrupt, Ethan was so spirited that he got drunk every day. When Sophia saw that the Ethan Group had gone bankrupt, she wanted to run away. While rummaging through the house looking for the only remaining jewels of the Ethan family, Ethan, who came back drunk, saw her. Seeing that Sophia wanted to run away, Ethan didn't say a word and immediately started beating her. However, Sophia now had no reason to endure him anymore. During their argument, Sophia accidentally killed Ethan. Then she immediately fled in a panic. One day when I was getting off work, suddenly a woman with a machete rushed out from around the corner. When she rushed towards me, she was immediately restrained by several policemen. I had known long ago that after Sophia escaped, she would surely come to take revenge on me. I had contacted the police in advance, and they had been protecting me these past few days. Ah, Emily, it's all your fault. You tricked me. You're the one who made the Ethan Group go bankrupt. I'll kill you. Sophia was being held by the policeman, struggling continuously, and her face was full of hatred towards me. Thank you, comrades of the police, for your hard work these days. Now that the suspect has been caught, I won't disturb you while you're handling the case. I bowed slightly to the police comrades and turned to leave. From beginning to end, I didn't look at Sophia again. After all, she was already a non-existent person in my life. When my father heard the news that Sophia had been sentenced to death, he was so angry that he had a stroke and was paralyzed on one side. He could only spend the rest of his life in bed. After the family lost my father as a labor force, there was also no source of income. My mother had always been a housewife, and no one would hire her when she went to look for a job. Helplessly, she finally had to work as a cleaner, and the money she earned each month wasn't even enough to cover my father's medical expenses. They came to look for me later. I took out the agreement we had signed before and drove them out directly. Looking at the design drawings that my staff had completed, I couldn't help but sigh. It's so good now. There are no so-called relatives and there's no pervert like Ethan in this life. I have successfully changed my own fate, having a career and things that I love. What awaits me will be a wonderful future.